Driving Television is brought to you by driving.ca.
The Ford Taurus is back. What, you didn't know it went away? Well, back in its heyday, the Ford Taurus was actually the best-selling car in North America. And over the past couple of years, it's become obvious that its best years were behind it.
And also, Ford introduced the Fusion, a mid-size car to take on popular models like the Camry and the Accord. So they retired the Taurus in 2007. Ford also has a bigger car called the 500. And that car was out to take on popular models like the Chrysler 300. But compared to the Chrysler 300, the 500 was a flop.
We went to the Detroit Auto Show this past January, and the Ford executives unveiled the new 500. But just a few months later, they decided to ditch the name 500 and resurrect the Taurus name to lend some familiarity.
To confuse things even farther, there's also a Taurus X, which is really a renamed Freestyle. Are you a bit confused? Because we are. This is the Ford Taurus, which is essentially that Ford 500 we saw back in Detroit. It's clear as mud, right? What is obvious is that this new car has been given the Ford Restyle, including the bar grille, new headlights, taillights, hood, and on this limited version, a healthy dose of chrome. The new Taurus is sold as a front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive sedan. It starts at about $31,000. This limited with all-wheel drive starts at $39,000. Throw in a few extras like Navi, and the car we have here is almost $44,000. Ouch.
Dude, that is a lot of money for a Taurus. Now, the Chrysler 300 cost about the same price, and it's got way more presence than this thing. We've already touched on some of the improvements that they've made on the exterior of the car, so let's have a look around and see what else they've changed. Ford claims the Taurus is the most spacious of any large sedan. It is big. The front and back seats offer plenty of space. The seats are high off the floor, but because the roof is high, there's plenty of headroom. Ford even has a name for this high seating position called command seating. The rear seats split and fold, as does the front passenger seat, which allows items as long as 9 feet to be carried inside the car. The trunk is very deep and wide.
You know what, I find the interior of this new Ford Taurus a little bit plain and dull, especially when you consider the car we're in here is over $40,000. For that kind of money, you could look at an Acura TL, and the interior of that car would put this one to shame. Ford has done a good job of trying to upgrade the insulation on the inside of the Taurus. There's a new material wrapping the cabin. It's called Sonozorb, and it improves the sound deadening by 20%. There's also foam beads that have been put in the A-pillars here to help reduce wind noise. And the new climate control system is 50% quieter. Standard features include MP3 jack, 6-disc in-dash stereo, power windows and doors, keyless entry, automatic climate control, tire monitoring system, and tilt steering. Even on this top model, telescopic steering is not included, which is a big oversight.
Something else that's pretty neat, and it's not available in this car, but it will be soon, is the sync system. Now, we had a chance to try that out on the new Ford Focus. It's a pretty cool system and definitely worth checking out the preview. Go to our website, drivingtelevision.com.
This new Taurus has been given top safety pick by the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety in the United States, and has also received 5-star ratings in all 4 categories in government crash tests in the United States, making it the safest full-size car in North America. Well done, Ford.
Ford claims to have made over 500 improvements on this new Taurus, and many of them are to improve the handling and performance. The engine is the same 3.5-liter motor found in the Ford Edge, and it improves power by 30% over the motor it replaces. Horsepower is 263, and this Duratec engine produces 245 pound-feet of torque. The 6-speed automatic that's in the Edge also found its way into the Taurus. This new setup improves fuel consumption by 10%.
Now, one problem the Ford Taurus has competing with probably its main competition in this class, the Chrysler 300, is that there's no V8 offered, where the Chrysler 300C does have a V8. The 3.5-liter V6 in this car does a pretty good job of moving this large vehicle along, but you can't compete with a Hemi. Enough said. So Ford decided to go the luxury route. The ride is quiet and soft. Ford developed a new hydraulic mounting system for the engine and transmission, which reduces vibration, but it also allows the suspension to be tuned for a more sophisticated ride. It's nice to see that ABS in Ford's advanced traction control system is standard equipment. Now, I have mixed feelings about this Taurus. There's a few things I like and a few things I like to see improve. First of all, the things I like to see improve. This seating position, they call it command seating, it's still a little bit too high for me. Even though there's lots of headroom, I feel like I'm sitting up driving an SUV. I'd like to be a little bit lower. There's no telescopic steering, and I can't exactly get the best driving position. But what Ford has done to the improvements on the suspension is make this car quite a bit more responsive. Now, you would think that they'd fall into that trap of making it a big, floaty American car, kind of like a Lincoln. But no, they've actually got some responsiveness in the suspension system. It delivers a lot of information back to the driver, so that's not bad at all. And when you throw this vehicle into a corner, it actually feels pretty light. Speaking of light, the steering is a little bit light for my liking, but you know what? The target market for this vehicle, somebody that wants a big, comfortable American car, they will be happy driving the new Taurus. Well, Lacey, the improvements they made to the 500, now called the Taurus, seem to have made an improvement to this car, but do you think it's enough? What do you think overall?
Well, you know what, Zach? I really like the fact that it's got tons of space for all the passengers and the driver. It's got a very comfy, quiet ride. I like the command seating. It's nice that you're able to sit up high and see out and over the hood, so it's easy to park. The controls are really simple, well laid out, and easy to use. However, that being said, I don't like how simple and boring and plain the exterior and the interior styling is, and something that just drove me nuts was the sound that the turn signal light made when you had it on. It just said, cheap grandma, cheap old, I don't know. And the price, it's overpriced. What do you think?
Well, I'll get to that as well in a second. You know, for me, first of all, I like big cars. I like driving big North American cars. They're comfortable, and this vehicle has that. The nice thing is that they've put that 3.5-liter Duratec V6 in there and the 6-speed automatic transmission. It makes this car actually quite responsive. I didn't think it would be as responsive as it is. And they didn't fall into that typical large North American car feel of making it really soft and sloppy. The suspension actually does give some nice feedback to the driver. And it's oh so quiet in the car. One of our staff phoned me on my cell phone while I was in the Taurus, and they said, "Where are you? It's so quiet." I said, "I'm driving in the new Taurus with that new Sonosorb material." I guess it actually works. Now, for the downside, I agree with you, Lacey. I don't think this car looks good at all. It is dull. Outside and inside, especially for this one at 44 grand, it is not cutting it at all. And the fact that there's no telescopic steering, especially in a car over $40,000, it just is a major oversight. So the big question, you have an unpopular car called the 500, you stick a Taurus badge on it, is it going to do anything to resurrect the sales of this car?
No.
I agree.
Want to buy a new car but can't decide? Go to driving.ca and do your own research by using the comparison tool.